Hola, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yaneli, and today I am happy to talk about my first official swatch video of cracked polish. Now, the swatch video is going to be interesting because not only are we talking about the collection itself with Caitlin swatches, but also cracked polish has a jelly of the month and some bonus shades that they sent over my way that I like to talk about as well. As a disclaimer, I did not purchase any of these polishes myself. Crack was nice enough to send them my way as gifted PR. I'm not obligated to talk about it, post about it, create content, or do anything with it, but I do want to showcase them off to you to see if this is something you're interested in. Without further ado, let's get into swatches. Up first, we have Sparkle Forward, and this in the bottle is a lilac-y base color with blue shimmer and what looks like to be some scattered holo and silver reflective glitters in the mix. Now, on the first coat, this did apply immensely sheer, almost like you just added a topper of sorts, but I did go in with a second coat, and you can kind of slowly see the buildup of the purple base color. Again, it's still pretty darn sheer. You're seeing everything. You're seeing my nail line, you're seeing my crescent moon, whatever. So I went in with a third coat, and I think at this point it is just a sheer polish. Like, if this is your intended vibe, definitely go for it, but I did 3 coats and the buildup of it is very gradual. Overall formula is very easy to apply. It's not thick for me, and it seems to self-level nicely from what I could see on the third coat, as it was kind of hard to tell honestly with the first and second coat. But overall, again, very easy to work with formula. Removal wise, I definitely recommend peel off base coat. You definitely could soak it off as well. Just be careful with those reflective glitters because they do give a texture to the polish, and with that I definitely recommend going in with at least 1 coat of top coat, whether that's glossy or matte. With it being so sheer, I think this makes an excellent topper, so definitely try it out if you do end up getting this shade. Next up, we have Mine Like a Diamond, and in the bottle this is giving off a very frosty light gray of sorts with blue shimmer and reflective glitters. On the first coat, it's giving nothing. It's giving sparkle. It's doing its best, and so I went in with a second coat, and it's slowly, very slowly building up that base color, but again, it's kind of a barely there type thing. So for shiggles, I went ahead with a third coat to see if I can get any more of that base color, and I did. I can't tell if it's predominantly the shine of the blue shimmer or if it's just this really light frosty shade of sorts. Now this one for me is acting more like a topper than Sparkle Forward. Sparkle Forward, at least you got some color variant on your nail. This one, you kind of have to fight for that base color. However, overall formula is very easy to apply. It self-levels out nicely. It's just you don't really get much of a color payout. Removal wise would be annoying if you try to do it the normal way, so I definitely recommend peel off base coat or soaking it off. Again, just be cautious of those reflective glitters because they are textured. And again, because they are textured, I definitely recommend going in with at least 1 coat of top coat. That's all I needed from me to get that smooth, even finish. Next up, we have That's How the Light Gets In, and this is a black jelly base with iridescent flakes that shift from purple to pink, some scattered holo, and silver reflective glitters in the mix. Crack noted that there's green in the flakes, but I had a hard time seeing any green shift from the flakes when I was swatching it and wiggling the nail off camera. There's also no mention of holo in the description that we got, but I definitely see some holo colorways showing as, again, I wiggle around my nail. This one is one of the thicker shades of the set, especially with the flakes in the mix. However, it's not thick to where I couldn't work with it or felt that I needed thinner. It's pretty easy to apply actually. With it being a jelly base, I think it's evident in the coats that I applied, but it requires gradual buildup, of course. The gradual buildup wasn't like cohesive. It was a little patchy in my opinion. I had some areas that were lighter than the others and just kind of gave a weird vibe. So because it has reflective glitters, it dries textured. So again, I recommend a top coat to have a smooth, even finish. And then removal wise, again, peely base coat or soaking it off would be your best bet. You don't want to rub it off because you could damage your nails by scratching it like micro tear wise with the reflective glitters. Next up, we have Radical Compassion, and this is a really nice magenta shade with this purple to pink shimmer and what looks like pink holo glitters. I say that because I kind of see some holo spectrum going about as I wiggle my nail. I only needed 2 coats for me to get full coverage, meaning I don't see my nail line or my little half moon that I have. Something that I'm conflicted on is the pink holo glitters. It gives it a greeny look on the nail and they appear much darker than the base color. It almost gives the illusion that I somehow have lots of lint trapped in my coats, but that's just the way the polish is. Overall formula is pretty great. I had no issues with application. This dries down smoothly, so I only needed one coat of top coat for a smooth even finish. Removal wise, it shouldn't be hard, but of course I still recommend a peel off base coat or soaking it off. You could rub it off and be fine, but some of the glitters might stick around. And then I thought it'd be neat to see how this looks with the first 3 polishes that we swatched, because they were very sheer, and so I wanted to showcase them as toppers on the more opaque colors that we have in the collection. Next up I have It Must Be Magic, and this one is a very dark deep purple with holo in the mix along with purple shimmer. Now because of the holo, it kind of gives it a gray leaning look to it. This one applied very smoothly on the first coat. It almost looked like I had full coverage, but I did go in with 2 coats for assurance purposes. This polish does dry down smooth, so I only needed 1 coat of top coat to get that smooth even finish. Overall formula is very good. I didn't struggle with it whatsoever. It's a good viscosity and was not a hassle to apply at all. Removal wise, it shouldn't be hard either, since it's predominantly what I would deem a linear holo. It's just the linear holo flare is not as strong as I'm used to from another brand. But yeah, removal shouldn't be a hassle. I of course deal with peely base coat instead, but you can definitely rub it off or soak it off. And of course I wanted to showcase this polish with the first 3 that we swatched as toppers. Now moving on over to Don't Teal My Thunder. This is Crack's Jelly of the Month, and this is on the bottle what perceives to be a very dark teal, but as I apply the first coat, it's very light, and also the viscosity of it is very like watercolor paint of sorts. I did go in with a second coat to try to deepen the color as well, but application of this jelly is just not as even as I would like it to be. So I went in with a 3rd coat to kind of test my luck essentially, and even with a 3rd coat, like my indents are very prominent, so this jelly definitely is unfriendly with those of us with textured nails. But it does build up rather nicely, and you do get that like squishy puddle effect of sorts with jellies. So I did want to go in, test this out with my other nails who are not as textured as my thumb, but even with those, application of it is still very patchy. Interestingly enough though, when I applied a matte top coat, it gives it a sea glass look, but also the patchiness kind of goes away. I'm not sure how that works. And because it is a jelly, I thought I'd showcase it how it looks with the first 3 we swatch as toppers, but then sandwiching them in with 1 additional coat of Don't Teal My Thunder. Moving along, we have Carbon Copy, and this is a bonus shade. I'm not entirely sure what a bonus shade means in the terms of like the cracked polish world, but this is a black jelly polish, and on the first coat it looks like watered down paint essentially, and so I went in with a second coat and that definitely gave it more color, but it still wasn't like, I don't know, more intense I guess. But I did go in with a 3rd coat for shiggles, and 3rd coat definitely deepened it more. But man, these jellies just don't like textured nails, and they really love to puddle in my indentations. It almost looks like that test of like, what shape do you see and stuff like that, just like the other shade. And I mentioned this briefly, but the viscosity of it is very watercolor paint coated. Like, it's not running off your nail, of course. There's more of a hold on there, but I'm just trying to describe how light these jellies are. Now, because it is a jelly, the removal process is going to be very easy, and just like with Don't Teal My Thunder, I went ahead and topped it with the first 3 polishes that we swatched, and then sandwiched it in with 1 additional coat of Carbon Copy. I really enjoy how it looks with sparkled forward and mine like a diamond. It's very grungy coated. Now moving on to Squish, and this is a pearly and another teal shade in the mix. This one has a slightly different viscosity right off the bat. It's ever so slightly thicker than how the jellies performed, but application wise is pretty darn similar in the sense of coverage and evenness. Like, it still sinks into my textured nails and the indentations and stuff. Like, you can see it pooled and whatnot, but coverage on the third coat isn't bad. It still gives you that jelly squish, but also the buildability. And I do want to say that even on my other nails that are less textured, it still showed up patchy. So it's not the best Crelly I've applied. I still think about Rodeo Drive from People of Color. Removal wise should be very simple because it's a simple Crelly, nothing much going on. And just like the jellies, I did want to test this out, how it looks with the first 3 polishes as a topper and then sandwiched in with 1 additional coat of Squish Squish. Now there is an additional bonus shade that Cracked made, and it's something in collaboration with the Facebook group that they have. I don't have the shade on hand, and that's why I'm not swatching it. I did reach out to see if it was one that was meant to be sent to me. I was informed that it was not, but if I wanted it, they could send it out. I declined because it's 1 polish and I don't want to waste shipping costs and packaging for just a singular polish. I think on Instagram they're probably going to be showing it most, so definitely hop over to Crack's either Facebook or Instagram and they'll showcase that shade there. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that there is 1 more, but I just don't have it because I declined it as well. Alright, moving on over to comparisons. Up first for Sparkle Forward, I have here ilnp's Flower Child, ilnp's Sugar Cube, and ilnp's Lightwave. I was trying to find polishes that had that light purple but also blue shimmer going throughout. I think Sugar Cube could be considered the closest, but the shade is just ever so dark, I guess. Again, trying to have those light purples going on. I have here Mooncat's After the Rain, Mooncat's Mercury in Retrograde Unmagnetized, and Mooncat's The Glory of Innocence. Glory of Innocence is obviously way too dark. Mercury in Retrograde is more on the gray tone, and After the Rain is just more vibrant purple of sorts. I know what you're thinking. What the heck is this, Yanelli? Okay, hear me out. I thought of comparing it next to Starly's Reality Shift and Holo Taco's Camera Shy and Moonlit Rodeo. Starly's Reality Shift I felt like was fitting the vibe, kind of. It's just more full coverage, it's more metallic as well. It doesn't have as much sparkle going on, and of course Camera Shy and Moonlit Rodeo are worlds apart from Sparkled Forward. Now moving on to Mine Like a Diamond, I have here Mooncat's Ghost of Hecate and Crack's Skelly Bones, and those are more on the pearlescent side, whereas Mine Like a Diamond, again, it's more of a glittery polish. It doesn't really have the fluorescent effect going on. And then I thought of comparing it next to Holo Taco's Swan Song and Holo Taco's Ice Angel, and again, very different in here, as Ice Angel is more of a silver holographic and Swan Song is a Crelly white. And then moving on over to That's How the Light Gets In, I have here ilnp's Until Midnight and Mooncat's Chemical X. Now both of these are obviously much darker and not so much of a jelly base, so you have that full coverage, but also the flakes are rather different. And then I have here Mooncat's Requiem for a Swan and Holo Taco's Trick or Trash. Similar to the other 2, those are more high contrast, high coverage, and That's How the Light Gets In. You see that almost puddle effect within each coat in the swatch stick, and of course the flakes are a different style as well. Moving on over to Radical Compassion, I have here ilnp's Curtain Call and Mooncat's Freshly Bitten. Now I feel like Freshly Bitten's base color is very similar to Radical Compassion, even going in with the pinky purple shimmer that's going throughout. And then ilnp's Curtain Call, the pink glitters in there are reminiscent of the ones within Radical Compassion. I think if I were to do a combo of Curtain Call and Freshly Bitten, I could maybe get the similar vibe, but it's not going to be like 100%. And then I thought of comparing it next to Mooncat's Ego Stroker 9000 and Holo Taco's Bless Your Heart, just trying to gauge how different that base color is in the terms of like hot pink realms and magenta-y shades, but Mooncats and Holo Tacos are very different in composition. And then I have here Crack's Ghoul's Garden and Fauve's Viva la Vida, and again, same reason as before, I kind of wanted to see the different ranges that the shades compares to, so obviously these are very different. Moving on, we have It Must Be Magic, and here I have ilnp's Love Spell and Mooncat's Nightmode. I predominantly brought these 2 because I wanted to show a range in where It Must Be Magic fits in, because it looks almost black, but it also sometimes skips off the purple, and then it almost looks like dark gray of sorts, so it's very interchangeable and kind of hard to like pinpoint the exact shade color. And then I have Mooncats. This is a storm warning, unmagnetized, and Holo Taco's Rainbow Flood. I think this is a storm warning, fits the color vibe much better. It's just missing that holographic aspect. And then Rainbow Flood, again, similar vibe, but it's just a much richer color. For Don't Teal My Thunder, I have here ilnp's Take a Bow and Holo Taco's Wait a Minute. So these are theoretically teal-ish, but more blue leaning, I suppose. And Don't Teal My Thunder is more of a true teal. And then I have here Holo Taco's Bring Me the Teal, Crack's Squish Squish, and Crack's Teal Dark and Handsome. It's interesting to see a different array of teals. Teal Dark and Handsome and Bring Me the Teal are both creme polishes. Squish Squish is acrylic, but you could also see how transparent it can be, as you can see some of the whiteness in the swatch sticks. Same with Don't Teal My Thunder. And then for carbon copy, I have here ilnp's Truffle and Holo Taco's One Coat Black. Now, Truffle is a acrylic and One Coat Black is a creme. And in here you can see the differences in how sheer carbon copy is. So it's a true black jelly polish. Up next, I have Crack's Chokeberry and Crack's Liquid Smoke. I wanted to compare the other jellies in Crack's catalog. Chokeberry gave more coverage than I had anticipated, whereas Carbon Copy and Liquid Smoke performed as how Carbon Copy performed on my nails. And of course, the colors is very different. One's a black jelly base, the others are like a red brown and a light brown color, so quite different. For Squish Squish, I have here Holo Taco's Bring Me the Teal and Holo Taco's Seek Kelp. I did Seek Kelp because Squish Squish is much darker than how Don't Teal My Thunder was, and I thought of showing how different of a dark teal this one is. And then Bring Me the Teal is a creme polish, whereas Seek Kelp is technically a jelly base polish, but it really acts more like acrylic. And then you've seen these two before, so I have here Crack's Teal Dark and Handsome and Crack's Don't Teal My Thunder. Again, just wanted to showcase the differences between these three teals in the crack polishes that I have in my collection. I find it interesting that on the bottle, Don't Teal My Thunder was perceived much darker of a color than Squish Squish, but on the nail, it's very much the opposite. So that concludes my swatch and comparisons portion of this video. Now I do have a couple of thoughts, and first and foremost, for the Caitlin swatches, I don't think I'm the intended audience for this. I am not the demographic that seeks this out. I am someone that likes high coverage polishes, and so seeing that 3 out of the 5 polishes of that collection being very low coverage type of shades was not my jam. However, I do enjoy that you have the ability to use them as toppers because they are so sheer. Especially that's how the light gets in. I feel like that one really changes the vibe of certain polishes, and of course that vibe is more in tune with what my preferences are. The other two are very like, if you want a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of reflective glitter, like if you like that like dainty ethereal type of look, those definitely fit the vibe. A surprise favorite is honestly Radical Compassion. I applied that one on a swatch stick first and was very like let down by it initially, but then I applied it on myself and that like completely changed the vibe and how I felt about it. I really enjoy the shade. I really don't mind the speckles too much if I just make myself not think about it as lint being entrapped in my polish, but more of a special quirk that this shade provides. Now moving on to the Jelly of the Month and the bonus shade. The Jelly of the Month is Don't Teal My Thunder, and one of the bonus shade is also Carbon Copy. And I'm going to want to talk about those two specifically. I am very let down by them and how they performed. I swatched them on swatch sticks, and that to me is the smoothest surface area that any polish can be applied on, and it struggled even in swatch sticks to even itself out and not give me such a patchy look. Is it less patchy than how it applied on my actual nail? Yes. However, it's still patchy nonetheless on what is perceived the smoothest surface area that I could find. Now, when it was applied on my nail, the letdown just kept going, essentially. Like, yes, I have a textured thumb and other textured nails, but like my thumb is the most textured out of all of them. So it could be just these jellies. I did have other jellies that I compared Carbon Copy with from Crack Polish itself, but I've only swatched them on swatch sticks. I haven't swatched them on myself to say if there's a difference or if maybe this was a bad batch for me or what have you. With the crowleys and the jellies, although they are not my favorite in the terms of just having it straight out on my nails, I do see the nail art possibilities with them. So carbon copy, it could be great for adding some shadow effect to some nail art, or doing a jelly sandwich with any of them really, because they all really did well in me sandwiching in with sparkle forward, mine like a diamond, and that's how this light gets in. But yeah, I do have an affiliate code and link with Cracked if you like to save 10% off your purchase. The link will be in the description box. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hype, and all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.